pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is that one mine? No, I think it's the one that we're using.
Who's the AI notes?
It's ours, so it kind of helps, with the note taking of
Okay.
the, so it's legit.
Okay.
Legit.
Okay, are there any questions about the agenda? Any motion to approve? I'll make the motion. Moved by. Second. Good, how are you doing? Public comment? Ms. Jolene, you're first. Sorry.
I ran out of time, but I do have a few budget adjustments I need to go over. The first two are just kind of some carryover. For the next gen, it's like $1,400, and then on the Title IV, it's $3,800. I think Jim is gonna order some technology with that. The next one, I've got to do a permanent transfer. It's on an RFR that got disapproved. It was missing a name badge. So the problem was I had already done another RFR and they threw it out and they're gonna make me pay for it out of operational. So that's what this is about. And the other is just to move some money in my grid for some instructional materials. Right now I've got it in a salary line, and just moving it around to be able to utilize it for the year. And I think that's about all I've got on adjustments.
Any questions for Mr. Lee? Mr. Barbie.
Joyce Hermanos came on Monday, March 10th to run the power from the elementary breaker panel to the outside southwest corner of the elementary for the Marquette board. On Monday, the 17th, the company from Las Cruces came and started the install. They had to fight the wind for 3 days and finally got it installed around 6:15 on Wednesday. They drilled a hole 8 foot deep and 3 foot in diameter and filled it with cement, so it ought to stay for a while. Also on the 17th and 18th, inmates came in from RCC and painted the interior walls in the central office. Rhodes gave us a quote for a commercial water softener for the cafeteria at $67,544, which includes a little building to put the softener in because not enough room in the boiler room. We are working down at the track field getting ready for the April track meets. Also still dealing with sewer line problems. I keep stopping up. Still waiting on J&G to certify our fire alarm system.
Any questions for Barbie? Thank you. Special ed.
Hey, everybody. All right, well, let's see. We've, indicator 13 has been uploaded. Of course, I got an email the other day saying we want them better, so I have to make some corrections. Our 120th day data is finally all in order. And that'll be in order until we do the 160th day data, and we'll have to correct those. The PED wants a gifted plan requirement of every district, so we put one together and turned that in. Idea B applications will probably start next month. That's always a fun time. We're gonna do child find in a couple weeks. Also in a couple, April 7th, me and Basanya are gonna go do the IEPs up at Youth Challenge. We've started the brand new comprehensive monitoring system that the OSE has implemented, which basically is a big compliance to do that every district is gonna be doing. I'm not really sure how that's gonna go. We're gonna get some more info. The Spring Academy is in Albuquerque next month, and it's gonna be a world of fun since the head honcho of the OSC just resigned, Dr. Cage, to take a job in Maryland. And so I'm sure everyone will be like, they'll be like, I didn't like her anyway, or whatever it's gonna be like. You know, I didn't really like her, so I'm one of those, you know, so we're gonna be a little bit rudderless with certain things in that area. But other than that, you know, Hagerman Schools is churning along and kids seem to be learning and having a good time. Any questions?
Questions? No. Thank you. SRO?
I'm here. With this fresh hairdo. My fresh hairdo, man. You like the cheap thing. First month, it's been good transition. Been working with staff, got my email up and running. Other than that,
Awesome, thank you. Elementary, Mr. Williams?
Ready?
Yeah, if you're ready.
I guess so. All right, since the last board meeting, we had 2 kids withdraw. We added 4 kids today, so our enrollment is at 221 at the elementary. Our pre-K enrollment is still at 39. I emailed this to you. I'm sorry, my printer wouldn't print. So on Wednesday, February 26th, we had our House leadership elections, where kids, they had to apply to be part of the House leadership, and then they gave a 1 to 3 minute speech. And I gave you a full list of all of our House leadership there. We have, each house has a president, vice president, secretary, historian, and reporter. So it gives an opportunity for about 20 kids to serve in some kind of leadership and stuff. And so it's been really cool. One of the kids that really, Emery Rodriguez, he's the president of Isabindi, and it's really been cool because he's like really taking it on himself and really just trying to bring his house together. And it's just really kind of cool to see him lead in that manner. The first week of March, we had Read Across America. It was an awfully windy day, a windy week, and we didn't get to do a lot. But one cool thing that we did is Officer Coulter came and read The Legend of Rock, Paper, Scissors to all the kids, and then we had rock, paper, scissors tournaments. Unfortunately, our champion Tanner was not there, but Coulter did hold it down and beat a kindergartner in the championship. So there's no easy wins here at Hagerman. And so he held it down. We keep celebrating kids with our Bobcat Pride referrals every week. One of the things we started, I don't know, just idea, epiphany of why we don't do this for our teachers. So 2 weeks ago, we started having kids nominate teachers for Bobcat Pride referrals. So every week we get to celebrate our staff and the awesome stuff that they are doing. I included pictures all in the report. You can see it in your email. Really the biggest thing, well, 2 things. February 28th, we had the IXL training on campus. All of our elementary teachers, K through 5, attended, along with a number of secondary teachers who use IXL. It was a really beneficial day. May with IXL came in, and the cool thing is we were able to do some funding, do it in person. And so it was great to have her here and be able to work with our staff and just be able to give them a really good training. Really the biggest thing since the last board meeting is all the windy days. We've had 2 remote learning days. We've had a number of early release days, and unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be anytime it gets up to 20 miles an hour, we're just going to have dust and wind everywhere. So, as a staff, we're really focused on trying to provide as much learning opportunities on those days as possible. Depending on the grade, some grades are sending home a packet, some grades are assigning IXL from there. And so really that's kind of been our biggest thing of trying to figure that out now that we have all the wind and stuff. So other than that, I stand for questions.
Any questions for Mr. Williams?
Talk about your PD coming up. on the
Yes,
31st.
that's a couple of things coming up. We have a busy month. We'll get to that. Tomorrow we'll have food distribution. On Thursday, the 27th, we'll have a STEM night. It's rescheduled with NIMI. They'll be here in the high school commons area. We'll also have the Spanish spelling bee that same afternoon. The 28th pre-K is going to go on a field trip. But March 31st, we're going to have John Konsick on campus. He's a TESOL trainer to do PSYOP training with all of our teachers. And so some of our teachers have done some training with him and speak very, very highly of him. We're fortunate. He's going to come on campus. So we're using some Title I funds and some structural literacy funds to be able to fund that. And so it should be a good day of learning for all of our teachers. Pre-K, kinder and pre-K roundup was supposed to be Friday before spring break. Obviously, we didn't have school, so it's got rescheduled for April 11th. And then about mid 15th, 16th, our 5th graders will do the science state assessment. April 17th, we'll have the color run. Then April 18th, we have Good Friday, no school. And then April 21st through 25th, we have our 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders will take the state assessment. So it's busy all the way here until the end of the year. And stuff. So a lot of fun stuff, a lot of good training for our staff, and so excited about those opportunities.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Where's pre-K going?
What?
Where's pre-K?
Pre-K is going to the Roswell Library, the Inclusive Park and Roswell, and then they're going to eat McDonald's. So all the pre-K stuff. So, which is we didn't want to take all 39 of our pre-K kids to the McDonald's playground because that'd be quite rowdy. It'd be fun though.
Yeah.
But they'll have a good time, so it'll be good.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, the secondary report, our enrollment is 171. We've had a couple new kids join us since the last time we were here. Attendance continues to be positive. We've dealt with illness, and we've had, of course, weather issues. We've learned how that we can do virtual and remote days. After the first one, there was a few kinks to work out, and I think when we got ready to do the second one, we were in a much better place. And if we continue to use that, or if we need to continue to use that, we do have that available to us, which is great. We have our last 4-H Friday for middle schoolers this Friday. They're going to do a program on rockets. The kids really seem to enjoy that, and the once a month activity has been something different for them to be involved in. There is a lot of stuff happening at the secondary level. Of course, track is in full swing. Their middle schoolers are at a track meet in Dexter today. I think the high school kids have their track meet in Dexter on Friday. Tomorrow the juniors are going to take the SAT. Thursday, it's a busy day. We have ASR testing, Spanish spelling bee, maybe STEM night. Next week, the 6th through 8th graders will start their MASA testing. Then we have next week, they will go to state judging. Mr. Parker may have some more information to share about that. The seniors have been invited to the ENMU Senior Day on Thursday, and some of them will do that. On the 9th, Gear Up is having Family Financial Literacy Night. It's kind of like a family night where families can come, and I remember from last year, they had like little booths and activities for the kids to take part in and learn different financial literacy things. The 17th will be a really busy day. If you're looking for something to do, there's going to be plenty of things to do on the 17th. Color run. We have early release that day. Staff has PD that day. It'll be a pretty busy day for all of us. I think there's a track meet in Eunice that day as well. We don't have school on the 18th. Prom is scheduled for April 26th. The ENMUR Senior Day is April 29th. And I'm not sure how that's different than this senior day that we're having this week. One of them is like a preview for kids who might want to go there, and the other one I think is for the kids who've decided to go there. The 29th.
Got one of those, I need to look at those dates. One of them got canceled and we moved it.
Okay,
So it might be only one of those is,
okay. Could be.
ENMUR is in charge of that, not me. I
Right.
swear.
Well, I was just copying stuff off my calendar.
Yeah.
May 2nd is also another great day to come do something at school because there's a lot of things happening May 2nd. We have high school career day that day. Another early release, there'll be PD day for staff. The bilingual department is doing a Cinco de Mayo celebration. On actual Cinco de Mayo is the FFA banquet, and then I believe BPA leaves hopefully for nationals the next day. We'll be geared up for graduation, which is May 17th, and then 8th grade promotion is May 22nd. And I am sure between now and our next time we talk, that I'll add more things to that really full calendar. So, any questions?
Oh, man. Any questions? Thank you. Mr. Parker?
All right, as Cody said, we're leaving for state next week. We're taking 5 teams, 16 kids. Super excited for state judging. It's been a good year. We judged all over the place, we traveled all over the place. This was the most we've traveled with. Starting out at the beginning of the year, we had 35 kids, and it's dwindled down from there. Carrizozo is always the make or break it for kids if they like it or not, because it's always windy and cold. But we had a great season. Many of our teams competed well. Of our 5 teams, we have agronomy, nursery, milk quality, wool, and livestock competing at state next week, which is a variety of high schoolers to 6th graders. So I'm really looking forward to see what they do. Agronomy, nursery, and wool have the best shot. Milk quality is getting up there. They're babies still, so I'm impressed to see how much they can keep growing and what they're doing. Livestock is one of those contests, best of luck. See how they do. I've watched horse. I watched one of our kids win horse out of the blue, and so never know. Can't predict that one. It's looking really exciting for next week. We'll leave Monday and judge Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday will be our awards, Friday evening. And then we'll return Saturday morning, hopefully in time for our high school kids that are running track to be back for track. CTE wise, we're in a holding pattern for everything. Our APR, annual performance review, has been turned in. Ms. Ray has certified it, and we got that turned in. We're still holding out for our Region K specialist, Melissa, to approve it. Their CCRB's in a weird holding pattern right now, waiting for all the bills to come out, and the governor can either veto or sign things off and get everything out. And so they still haven't unlocked our Perkins and Next Gen application. Those are still promised this year, for sure. Next Gen is, and all that. And so we're still kind of holding out on getting those applications unlocked. I have everything paperwork wise ready. So if they submit it to me, open it tomorrow, and it's ready, and it's due the 3rd of April, I'm ready to submit everything and just have it done. I've already gone over all that stuff. I am applying for the Harbor Freight grant again. They reached out and asked me, being the only New Mexico finalist, to apply for it. And then there's a few other grants that I'm working on applying for through CTE to kind of help continue growing our programs. I did working on some of our numbers today. We're 90 of our 102 active students in the high school are enrolled in a CTE class. Some way, some form, some shape, and so that's pretty exciting to see. Pretty much 90% of our kids are active in some type of career technical education, gaining those skills. So that's really exciting to see our programs grow and things like that. As I kind of get more information, hopefully by the next board meeting, I can tell you exactly what we're going to receive from state and federal funding for Perkins and Next Gen. This last year, we were 93. When I attended the region or the state meeting in January, they were kind of expecting us to be about 97 to 103,000 for our CT programs. Right now, that's kind of what I stand for. Questions, if you have any.
Any questions? Thank you, Mr. Parker.
The goal is to have a send off Monday at about 1:30 if you guys are around.
Next item is the approval of the minutes from the February 24th meeting and any investments and bills for the month of February. Any questions, concerns?
Nope.
Just need a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Chris.
Second.
Second by Jennifer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay. Motion carries. First new item, new business, the budget presentation and the,
Okay, I don't see Ms. Pam Rice unless she's,
I don't see her on there.
waiting to be admitted. If we can skip item A, and then Jolene, she went to go talk to her, and hopefully, I don't know, hopefully she got the link. So if we can skip A and B
Oh, okay,
for now.
all right, out of state travel for Miss Dunn, EPA.
So I have 14 kids that are gonna go with me to our National Leadership Conference this year. It's in Orlando. They'll go and they will partake in the Leadership Academy, internships, workshops, and like a lot of different competitions. There's an award ceremony. We signed up to do a tour of the Kennedy Space Center and stuff like that. So we'll be leaving on, I think, a Tuesday, and then we'll come home on Sunday.
Do you know the dates? Are they
6 through 11?
May?
Yes.
Okay.
6 through 11.
I'm assuming it's fully funded and all that.
Yeah, the kids raise all the money.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Any questions?
I'll make a motion to approve out-of-state travel.
Moved by Chris.
Second.
Second by Jennifer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, have fun.
Thanks.
Graduation requirements.
Y'all voted to table that last time we were here. The recommendation from the committee of myself, Coach Rodriguez, Ms. Dunn, and Mr. Parker was that we require all students for our local graduation requirements that we have to put forth, that we require all students to take one ag class and one business class during the course of their high school career. That was met with some resistance. We felt like you guys wanted to rethink that possibly. We are uncertain as to what other options we really have as far as what we could do. The other consideration that we had, which would pretty much fall to the same outcome, would be that we require all students to take computer applications at some point, because that is a skill set that they desperately need to be successful in high school. And so if we wanted to do that, one CET, our recommendation would be to have all high school students take one CTE course, either from ag, business, or another pathway that could be forthcoming in the future, and then computer applications while they're a student in high school. Those would be our local requirements. Or we can continue to think, but there's no, when they changed and made financial literacy a required, that was where we were before, was ag, or it was a CTE course in financial literacy. Now financial literacy is taken off the options for that, because that is now a required math course for all students to take.
I don't remember, there was two options, right? You want us to choose?
Well, no,
We have to have two.
we have to say these are the two that all Hagerman students have to do, these two things in order to graduate. Like, those are our local choices.
I mean, wasn't there option A and option B? Option A was.
Yeah, option A
this, and
was,
Option B was,
Let me find the,
I think, where I was is I didn't want to force the kids into, a kid that wanted to do all ag. I mean, it's good that to make them do
An option, yeah.
an option, but will we ever become a problem where they
Like it's a
can't
choice
take an
without a
ag class?
choice.
They can't do an ag, they have to do the
Business.
So I
business
think
class that year.
The thought process is that, like, all kids will end up, like, the freshmen are the most limited, but they still end up with 2 electives. Every other grade level past that has a lot of electives. And so really this one credit is one class throughout all 4 years. So even if it is a kid that's like very highly ag, the concept here is that even when they go into the field of agriculture, they should know how to use computers, which is a business pathway, not an ag pathway. So like that was the concept that we were saying is like, and kids that want to do business should have an idea of what some of these other careers are, because as far as career goes, it's exploration, right? So that they can get like just an intro class into something so that they can be at least introduced to those topics.
Well, and I would say,
Option B was just, what kind of we have now is a CTE class and dual enrollment class.
I know there's only one requirement.
no, you'd have to have one of each.
They have to do both.
Oh, it's
So-
And the argument against dual enrollment is that not every student is prepared to take dual enrollment classes, nor are they always successful when they do. And that creates a two-part problem. One, they failed a class here at school, and that affects their grades and their eligibility and that kind of thing. But also establishes a negative record for them in college, because that, whatever they take as a dual enrollment student still counts for them towards college, whether
They go into
they're
college on
successful,
probation.
yeah, they'll start college essentially on academic probation. I would say of the 102 students in the high school, 95% of them have already done one ag and one business at some point in their career. Whether it be ag, as far as ag mech, Mr. Hemphill has 2 high school ag classes, Mr. Parker has a variety, and a lot of them are kids that they're not active FFA members, they're not interested in pursuing that side of things, but they're taking horticulture, they've taken food science, some of them have taken welding, ag mech, even though they're not interested in that other side of things. So I don't know that we're creating a problem for any student specifically.
Yeah. But if it's already happening, why are we gonna mandate it?
We have to the PED is requiring us to say, in Hagerman, what are your 2 things that you guys require?
And they don't have to do it every year, just once.
Right.
It's like once in their high school career, try something different.
So,
That's
Alan,
it.
why don't you talk to them a little bit about the technology pathway through the Department of Basic?
I took pictures. I did.
Maybe I explained my concern wrong, but if a kid want to go, is fully business or fully ag, whichever, yes, they do have to take one class, but is there gonna be a year where they won't have 2 electives and they have to,
The only way they ever get in a bind and not having enough electives is if they failed a bunch of classes, and then we've got another problem altogether there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Otherwise, they'll always have.
at least 2 electives or more.
electives wouldn't be a thing for a kid that's bad grades, right?
Right, well, and if they're in a credit recovery situation, that's a whole nother can of worms, and this is an issue, a non-issue for them at that point.
But I meant like a good kid, a kid that's got good grades that is fully business, but yes,
Right.
explore the ag for sure. Is there a time
I
when
think
they
a lot of
won't
our
be able
kids,
to take their preferred class plus the elective?
I think there's a lot of
Of ag.
kids, I mean, like you said, especially probably the last 2 or 3 years that I was teaching ag, we had kids that their senior year, they're in their ag class the first time because that's what fit in their schedule. And maybe it was offered up against something like yearbook that they had already tried, or, against a business class that they had already taken. So, I mean, the other side of that is that we're a pretty limited place, and there's only so many teachers and so many places for them to go, so.
So in other words, occasionally, so as far as the number of classes available, they will have, like freshmen will get at least 2 electives. After that, like they can get 3, 4, seniors get 4.
Or at least 4.
Yeah, because of the way their core classes, work as you go up. But, the only issue that we have sometimes is because we are limited on like the number of staff we can have, is that sometimes they're like the advanced ag mech might fall during yearbook, and then they can't decide what they would prefer. So like they might face that problem, but they can still choose. There will always be an option between like an ag class or an arts class or a business class. Like they'll still always be able to pick. And the way they land might not be where, like they might end up with their number 2 and their number 3 choice, and the number 1 choice just doesn't fit. But there's not really anything we can do about that unless we want to be able to offer like a lot more classes.
Which we are now. So you want to explain that?
And I think that's right too.
Yeah,
We don't
so-
wanna give it like different, it's gotta do CT and ag, like, there's so much more.
I think there's a bunch more classes.
Yeah.
Well, and now,
What they're trying to do, where they have to take an ag or a CT.
CTE would include ag, business, cybersecurity,
Yearbook.
yearbook, there's a whole bunch of,
Journalism.
all the stuff that, and
Okay, so
if
then
we, get in this, Permian Basin Innovation Zone stuff, we will have access to more things that they could take. And it wouldn't be ag or business. Those are the two that we currently have. That's what it
Those are
looks
our
like to
true
us.
defined pathways on campus.
But we would have, I mean, they could have access to a lot more CTE options.
Cause Mr. Parker has a dual enrollment welding class, right?
Yes.
Is there a dual enrollment business class?
So
I mean,
the financial literacy is, but now that's a separate requirement, like the government or the state had come in and said, you have to do financial literacy. So we can't count it as part of the,
And what year do they usually have to take that?
they're gonna do that their junior.
We're pretty much just trying to decide whether we require them to do A, which is 1-in-1, or B, which is a dual enrollment.
And I don't know that we'd even say one and one, I would say from two different pathways. That way we don't
Right.
lock
Yeah.
ourselves into, if for some reason down the road we would have healthcare, access to healthcare, a kid could pick that or whatever it is. Right now, it looks like agribusiness because that's what we have, but hopefully in the future, we have access to a lot more options.
Such as
Option B,
medical
you just have
pathway,
to take a dual enrollment.
dual enrollment, and then a CTE, like a
Right.
CTE class from any of the pathways.
And if I understand correctly, and Tara can correct me if I'm wrong, the state has moved away from the dual enrollment because of the lack of success that some students have, and that some of them are not prepared for that level of academic
We
rigor.
have a lot of kids that we set up for failure if we, I mean,
Awesome.
not the majority of the kids can make it because of the options we have. But we do still have a lot of kids that if we tell them you have to do a dual credit, we just set them up for failure.
I don't want to force one to have to do dual enrollment. So, I mean, I'm fine with the A or the local.
yeah, I am too. I just don't want a kid to get in a bind.
And
somewhere
so
along the way.
potentially next year with Permian Basin, kids will also have an opportunity to take like a medical pathway or a software pathway or information technology is the true name of it. They have that wrong in this picture. Or an educator pathway that fits PED's requirements as well. They would be considered CTE classes. Right now, we have journalism, yearbook, those all fall under CTE. Technically, Systems Go falls under CTE. And then our true defined pathways, meaning they have 3 or more constructed classes within that sequence, which requires PED's approval of being a completer, concentrator, non-completer, there's verbiage all over the place in there. Business falls into that category because there's 3 classes of sequencing there. Ag, we're lucky enough, so like our plant science pathway right now this year is a sequence completer class. Ag mechanics is a completer class because there's 3 multiple classes they go through in there. And so we just put those on there because those are our defined pathways. Those are what we receive our federal funding through Next Gen Perkins through. Cybersecurity, there's only 2 classes, so it's not considered a true pathway. If that makes more sense to you guys. I don't know, I'm a little brain fried after our meetings we had today.
I think what our goal is to just say that at least one time in their career, high school career, so even if they don't do it their freshman year because they only have 2 options, by the time they hit their senior year, they can take a lot more electives. Is that they take at least one class that's not necessarily only in their comfort zone before we just dump them out in the world and say, okay, good luck, like, without at least having got them to try something else in a very sheltered environment of school.
And I think what happens a lot of times, our kids, and they find this out when they get to college, that they have to take a class outside of their, like an upper division, global diversity, something that's outside of their comfort zone, outside of their major to see something else. But a lot of colleges and universities require that. And so I think it would be good because a lot of our kids do get very comfortable and it would challenge them a little bit and provide them to see something. I've had some kids that I would have probably never gotten to see that ended up in ag classes that either learned a lot, taught me a lot, or just, they're like, I didn't know you guys did all this stuff. Well, because they never took the opportunity as younger students to get exposed to those things. So.
And I will say, I was looking at some data today, our freshmen already, every single, 90% of our freshmen, 98% of our freshmen, what I can remember, they're all enrolled in an agribusiness class. Every single one of them.
And some of them both? Or no?
No, I have all the freshman boys, the majority of the freshman boys at one time, and then they go to Richards, and then I have majority of the freshmen girls at one time, and then they go to Richards. There's only like 2 or 3 kids that I don't see.
keep in mind that this will be starting with the freshmen next
The
year.
8th graders coming up, and so they're a lot smaller group already.
They're at 14 right now.
Okay.
I'm okay with option A.
So Chris moves for option A.
Give me, what was option B again?
Dual enrollment.
And a CT class.
Do I have a second?
A second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay. Do we need to go back, Ms. Reyes, or?
Actually, Jolene, what did she tell you?
Pam, she can't make it tonight, but she'll come in person next month and maybe everybody will be here.
Okay.
That'll give you time to
Read our book.
go read your book. A little bit of late night reading there.
So I need a motion to table that.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Chris, second by Jennifer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. So we tabled that one. All right, item B is the budget adjustments. Any more questions for Ms. Johnny?
No.
Just need a motion to approve.
I do have something else on your CTE. What you doing, Carter, we're moving 6,000 down.
We're doing a buff, which is a budget adjustment form. There's so much terminology. We're having to move some student travel money from point A to point B to cover some registration costs. I can't remember why it was in one line over the other, but we're just waiting for a signature line from CCRB to move it so we can adjust some of our student travel costs and to make sure everything's paid for properly. Not getting yelled at by Ted.
This was a $1,100 bill that we paid for some, when they went to was it Creek contest?
It's NMLC state
Junior
junior high contest. And so it's set up where all of our state contests through BPA and FFA should be covered through next gen.
The registration fees.
Registration fees.
And then there's another one, I'm gonna move a little bit of money in it's operational, but it's the transportation portion. We need to, for the random drug testing, I need to move some money for that, like $1,000. But we have it in there, there's like 80,000 in there right now, so I'll be moving that. Sorry, I ran out of time and I didn't get it all put together.
Okay, so, any questions for Ms. Johnny? There's a motion by Kristen,
Yes.
Second.
second by Jennifer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Item E, Ms. Reyes traveling.
Okay, so President Moss and members of the board, so I am requesting board approval for travel to attend the New School Venture Fund, which is part of the Permian Basin, and so there is a conference in San Francisco, California, from May the 13th through the 15th, so this will be a couple of days. And so this event is directly related to our district initiative with the Permian Basin, and it will focus on enhancing educational opportunities, improving the student outcomes, and of course fostering the regional collaboration. The Valley superintendents will also be attending. And, we'll be providing an opportunity for us to align our efforts and share the best practices. So today we had a meeting and, Alan started discussing this, but it was very, very intense and we're trying to work out all the logistics. So Dexter will be having a medical pathway, and of course, the plan is to be able to have our students if they want to go into the medical field, they can go to Dexter. So we're thinking probably first period. Now, we're trying to work all the kinks because Dexter, they do have I think it's an AB schedule, I believe.
AB block.
They do have a block schedule. In Lake Arthur and us, we don't. So we kind of have to figure out, how we want to do this. But if some of our kids, so the plan is to be able to get one of the buses, either contract the Hemmels to get a bus to bring the kids from Lake Arthur, and they pick up our kids and they go to Dexter, and then have another one if we have kids from Dexter that want to be able to do the software pathway, the technology pathway, then the bus will drop them off here, and then we'll take the kiddos or pick up the kids from here if they want to do the educator pathway, and that will be at Lake Arthur. So there'd be two buses kind of back and forth. And the Permian Basin the grant will be covering for all of this. So basically, the going to San Francisco is just to, going to San Francisco is just to be able to strengthen our partnership, with the collaborative initiative and just gain insights and resources of how to support the initiative. So I'm seeking approval for the travel and, just all the expenses will be paid through the grant. It will not cost the school a single cent.
That was gonna be my question.
Man, you're drinking.
So they will pay for everything. Now, there's another one, but however, I'm not ready for this one yet. I will not be going to that one. And I'm hoping to send Cody and Alan to that one. And it's actually, sorry guys, you were just voluntold. It's actually also through the Permian Basin, but they will get to go see a school. And this one will be in San Antonio. The Permian Basin will also pay for that. And that would be a couple of days, it's a trip for 2 days. And again, all the expenses will be paid, but I still need to work on that. And, if that's the case, then we'll seek approval for next month on that one. And so basically what they will do is they will get to visit a school, Alan, that's what you said, right? But they'll get to visit a school that's.
Yeah,
already
we'd actually
doing-
see this program initiative in action and get to talk to key stakeholders, leaders, school officials, CT teachers and all that stuff, and how it's impacting them, what does it look like for them on a daily basis. It would be a travel in day, visit the school next day, and kind of talk and then travel home the next day, I think, is the way I understood it.
And once I have more information on that one, then maybe for the next board meeting. But for this one, just seeking approval for travel, and then of course, the expenses will be paid through the Permian Basin.
All right. Any questions? Just need a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
Second by Jennifer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries.
And hopefully the San Andreas fall to stay. That's my biggest fear for
Now
San
that you said that,
Francisco.
now that you said it, jinx it.
Now you jinx yourself.
That was our last earthquake.
All right, item
Bilingual
application. Yes,
Good
sir.
evening, I'm James Richards, I'm the new bilingual director. Ms. Rez and I, we've been working on this application and she's shown me the ropes here. Wasn't a very intense application at all. It's projections for the 25-26 school year. Right now, we're looking at probably about 95 in the bilingual program for next year. We tend to graduate, about 10 each year and then refill them with pre-Ks coming in. So, but President Moss, we're going to need your signature on the back page tonight for this thing. And outside of that, that's really about it. It's just a pretty simple application, so.
Questions?
You're the president.
Well, you gotta ask the question.
Oh, no. I'm not bilingual, so.
You know, easy enough. Just need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
That's by Chris.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Do you have that application?
Yes, sir, I do,
We can sign it, or I can sign it now or later, whichever.
already.
Ms. Reyes.
Okay, so, I will be very brief and, you know, Trevor is not here today, so,
It's a second.
he won't get to see us leave early. So, starting, well, actually next month, Jolene, myself, and Raquel, we will be attending the spring budget. And that will be April the 9th through April the 11th. Carmen will be here at Central Office, she will stay here. So, again, that's April the 9th through the 11th. And then so as you know, we are having our meetings for the new school every other week. Tomorrow we have the next meeting, but at the last meeting, you know, we discussed the increase of numbers. And so actually what I did is I went ahead and sent out the letter to PS COC to see if they could put us on the agenda. They have the meeting scheduled for the 9th, which I will be, you know, in Albuquerque, so I might have to go to Santa Fe that day for the meeting and then go back to Albuquerque. However, there's a possibility that they will be changing it to the 14th because usually all these members, you know, from PES, COC, they usually attend Namaskville also, the spring budget. So I'm hoping that they do change it. And so we are requesting for a total of 420 students. So, you know, I did talk to our representative from PSFA and he was telling me we have a new one. We lost Sarah Balco. And our new one is Saavedra, I can't remember the first name. But anyways, he was telling me that it's very promising, so hopefully, you know. If we do, it should give us, including because there is a new calculator that they're giving, you know, the districts, the new schools, a little bit more square footage. So we should be able to get that. So I'm hoping that everything will be great and, you know, they'll be able to approve us, so. It looks very promising. So that's on that. In my newsletter, you know, I welcomed everybody, of course, you know, coming back from their spring break. And yesterday was a Monday, believe me, all day long. Today was a Monday all day long, but it's been really hard for the kids and really hard for the teachers. However, you know, we are into the final stretch of the school year and we have a lot to do. I mean, you saw or, you know, heard Cody with a list that is so long and, you know, we have testing, we have the events and you know, graduation. So, you know, we definitely need to stay focused and of course, be able to finish the year strong. We started March and it's almost gone. However, you know, this unpredictable weather, and we're probably going to be having more bad days. So, you know, as we continue to navigate this weather, you know, we will continue, and we are working really close with Rochelle, with the bus company, and, you know, usually Coulter will say, hey, you know, they already closed State Road 2, we need to do something about it, and so we definitely need to take action because, you know, it is a very serious condition and we definitely, you know, need to think about, we have to be proactive and think about safety. So once again, if this continues, we will, I mean, if everything's fine, we will continue with the in-person learning. However, you know, there's going to be many times that we probably need to dismiss early or transition to remote learning. So again, we have 2 remote learning days this month. It was on the 4th and the 14th again, and then we had a couple of early release. I mean, believe me, I don't like that. I mean, I'm sure you saw what the weather was like last Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. It was just horrific. You know, trying to get home when I left here, there's no visibility whatsoever. And then, of course, all the traffic was diverted to, I don't even know where I was. I mean, I was going down. Well, and I was trying to just follow somebody from the back, but then I was so afraid that somebody was just going to come and rear-end me. And I'm like, where am I? And then I was talking to Carmen, and she's like, oh, you're right next to Miss Gray's house. Well, I never been to Miss Gray's house. And like, it was scary. It was, really, really scary. So we definitely don't want the families to be able to do that. Believe me, I feel like, it's not up to me to just close the school. It's a collaborative. I contact the board, the police department, everybody. It's everybody working together. And sometimes if it's not safe, we have, like the last week before we left, people that live in Roswell, we send them home a little bit earlier. And, that's something, if we need to do that, and then the ones that live here in Hagerman can continue with, the kids here. But, it's not an easy situation. But again, with this weather, it might happen again. And again, we are just starting with this. So hopefully May will come quickly and everything will be good. Okay, next, moving on, I'm sure you saw the new sign, and it's already, set up, so we are just waiting we have a webinar next week, and they will be showing us how to, how to program it and be able to get it going. And then everything else, they already talked about. In my newsletter, I have been posting about, information about the measles. And, somebody told me, well, you need to take it down already. Well, I can't take it down because it's still, very evident and the cases are increasing. And, the only thing we could do is just be able to inform the community and, just hoping that that they'll be able to read our flyers here. And then the last thing that I have here, and we are actually the bilingual department, and you know what, I'll let Mr. Richards, if you want to, this is your thing.
What is it?
I'll let you do that now.
All right, yeah, it's the Spring Fiesta, and it's just something I've actually learned about. But it's kind of been a tradition here. It'll be May the 2nd, 2025 from 5:30 to 10:30 p.m. There's going to be food, fun, and live performances by Hagerman Elementary students. Y'all come up and grab a burger. I already know what my job is going to be. I'm going to be flipping burgers all day. So, but it sounds like it's going to be a good time. From what I understand, there's going to be a lot of involvement from the school. And I look forward to being a part of this thing here. Sounds like it's going to be a good deal for the kids in our community.
We contracted a live band, so they will be playing from 7 to 10:30. And they play a variety. They play country, they play Spanish, Tex-Mex, a little bit of everything.
Are we having it outside?
In the patio. So, we actually had a request if we could do it out here on the street and be able to close the street. But it's more difficult because of the lining, not lining, but the lining. So we decided to go ahead and use the patio. That's all I have, and I stand for questions.
Who's gonna kind of be in charge of the marquee and putting stuff up there and taking stuff down?
So definitely, Daniel Sanchez will be voluntold. So no, Daniel Sanchez is the head. So we do have a meeting, it's on the 31st, and so I would like to have the administrators there, and then Mr. Sanchez, so.
Kind of like we do with Thrill Share right now? Okay.
Pretty much.
Cool.
And that's basically what it will be, you know, it will be online and then you just send your messages, but.
Good times.
Oh, I'm sorry, I have one more thing, and I, before you close this, so I gave you and yesterday we got this at the, NMSBA meeting. So basically this one here, I'm not gonna read it all, but everybody has a page, so these are the ones, you know, some of the House bills that passed. If you wanted I mean, they're all important here, but, there's just way too many of them to be able to read. And then if you look, so on page 2, 3, and 4, it tells you the ones that passed. And then on page 5, here's the ones that did not pass. One of the ones that did not pass, if you look at HB 201, and it's like the 4th one down, and it's the raise for school employees, minimum wage. So what they wanted is to raise the minimum wage to $30,000 for the custodians and for the EAs. That did not pass. However, what did pass is an increase of an average of 4%. So all the employees will be getting an average of 4%. So Jolene and I will figure that out, and for some of them, that will bump them to significant. I mean, it's 4% of whatever they are getting right now. So if you look at the first page or the very first page, although it says here page 2 because I'm missing the cover page, it says here HB 65, the instructional days and school year. So this one was the one that, it says clarifies the local school boards and governing bodies of charter schools shall determine the total number of instructional days per year and the number of instructional days per week that students are required to be in school programs. This one was vetoed right away, so I'm still waiting for us. I mean, I don't think it will really affect us. I mean, unless we really want to go into a 4-day in the future. But for now, we are actually going to do we have a calendar meeting on Thursday. And you're welcome to join us.
We've tried twice to have calendar meetings.
Yes.
Every time we do, we have a major windstorm and go home early, so here's hoping.
Yeah.
We are going to try it again, and we are going to go ahead and go with the 180. We can definitely try to do like a 4-day. However, I don't think that would be a possibility. And even though if we were to be approved for a 4-day, I think it's something that needs to be thought out, probably, like a year in advance. Not just right away. But that's something that we could definitely look into in the future. But it's still not clear. All of these are still in the governor's desk, but this one was vetoed right away. The governor wants 180 days, but really, one of the judges said no, as long as you have 40 hours, then, we're okay. It doesn't matter if you're 4 days, as long as you meet the 40 hours. So there's another one, and all of if you look on page 3, HB 156, so there's an increase of educational salaries. So level 1 teachers will be, so it's the $5,000 for each level. So level 1 will be $55,000, level 2, $65,000, level 3, $75,000, and that's for the teachers. The retirement, so we will get to keep Ms. Denning. Ms. Denning, as you know, she is retired, and then, she's working under this,
Is that the one on page 9?
I think it is on page,
But it says it did not pass.
no, it did pass. No, it did pass. I saw it here, and it did pass. So basically, they increased it to, I thought it was 60, but I think it's 82.
Oh, it's 133 on the Senate side.
133, what page are you looking at?
Page 4, it's about middle of the page.
Okay, the educational retirees returning to work is about the middle of the page. SB 133 relates to educational retirement, increases the salary a retired member may earn without, no, there's another one.
Well, the other one's at the bottom of page 5, and it says that's when it did not pass.
House Bill 249,
Yeah, the 254.
254.
Okay, let's see, 254.
Or went from 36
Increase
to
the period
84.
of time from 36 to 84 consecutive, but I believe they passed with the 60, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh.
Yes.
They passed
Oh,
six.
well, you're in that situation, right? Yes. No, I didn't mean it that way. So it did pass to 84, but it did to 60. Okay. So we get to keep Miss Denny. And then I'll let you read those and,
It's crazy how HJR4 didn't pass on the last page. Doing away with PED and having a state board of education. It's crazy how they didn't pass.
Once again.
Should have been just pushed right through there. Writers, yeah, a lot of people out of work.
Yeah.
First time I'm seeing this, because I didn't show up yesterday, right?
It should have. They would have went all over them too.
every single one, line by line.
This one, the recap outlay.
You missed out on the enchilada.
I'm just not a big enchilada fan, so.
I need it.
At Little Caesars, I was happy.
But you're so busy.
Again, I'm not, well, I could eat it in tractors.
We
Tractors
thought
turn
maybe you
itself.
were cutting hay, but then I thought, oh, I
Oh,
wonder.
yeah, I can't use that as an excuse just yet.
Is it time? That's all I have.
All right, no questions?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Moved by Chris,
Okay.
by Jennifer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Meeting adjourned at 7:03.
New record.
Oh, there was one.
No, there was one that was like 6:45. Yes, there was a time you were gone.
Yeah,
Well.
I was here.
Uh-huh.
See, that's where there's another 14 minutes.
I bet.